You are now listening to the Project Kuwait. Where we stop at nothing to bring you the right facts on health, fitness, and psychology. Featuring some of the world's most experienced professionals so you can learn, live, and live. With your hosts, Meg, Dr. D, and Mehdi.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of The Project, and I am joined by Laura Nisi. She used to live in Kuwait. She grew up in Kuwait her whole life, went to ASK, graduated from there, lived here after that, and then moved to Argentina for a while, and then now she is in Italy and has been there for the past couple of years, and she is basically in ground zero of the coronavirus. So how is everything going, Laura, considering the current situation?
Hey, Maddie. Considering the current situation, if I were to be 100% honest, it's very bizarre. It's a very, very bizarre situation. Streets that normally would be busy on a Saturday morning have isolated people, all kind of doing, what they have to do, like going to the supermarket specifically or going to the pharmacy. The Italian culture is based very much on enjoying life. La vita bella. We go out, we drink coffee, we like to eat out, we take long walks. And within a period of, because it was 24 hours, we were told that's it, we're in complete lockdown. So it's been now 3 days where we've been in this kind of situation, like complete lockdown, whereas only the supermarket and pharmacies are open. And it's weird. That's all I can say. It's so weird. It's so, I don't know. I think to say it sounds ridiculous, but if you don't live it, I don't know how to explain. Here's an instant. I am living in northern Italy, and it's a very Catholic area. So people go to church regularly. It's a normal. Today, the church bells rang all over Gorizia, and people are leaning out their windows clapping in solidarity. And it just felt like one of those movie scenes, like the things that you watch in the movies when it becomes very dramatic and stuff. And this real life is happening here. Yeah.
That must be really tough, but let's rewind. All right, let's go back, say 2 weeks. Let's go back when the first couple of cases were discovered in Italy. What was
back? Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? What was it like then? Did people take it seriously? Were they understanding of it?
Yeah.
Did they understand that the hospitals were definitely not equipped for it? So can you rewind to when it first started? What happened for your family and what happened for you specifically? By no means, you said it before, you're not an expert, but you are still on ground zero, and you can offer a shed of light of maybe what's to come in Kuwait.
Everyone, myself included, didn't take it too seriously. It was, I think, about 2 weeks before Carnival, because Carnival is a real big deal here. We actually have holiday for Carnival. Schools go off for 3-4 days. It's a full-blown celebration. And there was an inkling that something was not right, because a lot of kids were getting sick, unusually sick, again and again. And you could feel there was this coronavirus kind of conversation coming from China, but everything that's in China seems always so far away. You're like, oh, you have this arrogance of thinking, no, it's not. It's China. It's got nothing to do with me. Then we had a couple of cases pop up in Milan, and during our Carnival holiday, they said school will be closed an extra 2 days. So instead of reopening on Thursday, they'll be closed Thursday and Friday. Okay, no problem. Fair enough. They're trying, it was kind of like a containment because they didn't know. And I assume that they did know a lot more, but they were trying to keep us like on the lowdown, kind of not letting us know too much. And then we got to Sunday evening and we were told, okay, school's closed for another 7 days. Okay. So those 7 days were kind of like a weird situation. And immediately in all of Italy, in all of the, what you would call northern Italy at this point, because it wasn't the whole of Italy, especially the red zone was only Lombardia, Milano at this point. So, but we are part of the Venezia, Friuli, and it was saying, okay, schools will resume as normal next week, but just in the meantime, here's some online lessons you can kind of do, or some kind of online teaching. Sunday night, 3 cases showed up. And of course, because the testing takes time, it's not like you go in and they're like, oh, coronavirus. It takes time. It's a blood test. You call it tamponi here. It's not that simple. And then a lot of people just say, oh, it's the flu. Even me, I was like, well, it's kind of like the flu. What's the big deal? Yeah, the long-term effects on the lungs is nothing like the flu, but obviously you downplay it. You don't want to actually admit, hey, this could be something serious. So gets to Sunday night, and we had 3 cases. So for about 3 hours, we were all kind of tense, like really tense on our phones, going, what's happening? What's happening? Watching the Conte, our president, our prime minister, what's he going to announce? Schools closed for another week in the entire Friuli Venezia Giulia region for 3 cases. Just 3 cases. You're like, oh, okay, fine. Then after that, it was 4 cases, 5 cases, 6 cases, 10, 20, first person dead. And it just went like, just skyrocketed, Things started to close down slowly, like they were advising you, for example, to obviously no one panic bought because everyone kind of slowly was being edged into this. We kind of slowly bought. Like I thought, okay, you know what? I'm not going to mess around. I'm going to buy something. I don't feel like going out anyways because people are a bit grumpy and stuff. And then the turning point was, at one point they said it was Tuesday night, if I can, because my dates are now all kind of fumbled up. Tuesday night, where 9 o'clock at night, they said we're closing down every flight in or outside of Europe, especially Italy. Slovenia and Austria, which are our 2 main borders, are closing the borders, which hasn't happened, I think, since the war, or since, let's say, the Cold War, the Soviet era. Schools are closed till April 3rd, and everything, including cafes, bars, everything closed. We're going on lockdown.
Before this, though, people were still going to bars and cafes, even though warnings were issued by the government.
We are in this situation, Maddie, because we didn't listen. We didn't take it seriously. We didn't take it seriously. In Milan, when they said Milan's going on shutdown, there was an exodus. The videos really, they make your spine tingle, of thousands of youngsters leaving Milano to go back home. So basically, they were going from the red zone, which is the epicenter of this disease at the moment, all over Italy, south and north. They were being stopped at the stops by the military and being told to turn around. They weren't being let. I mean, it was like, and we still weren't taken seriously. You would go downtown here, and people were still going for an aperitivo. They were still having dinner. There was always this resistance that, oh, it's not going to hit us. It's not going to affect us, And then the school said, okay, that's it. You can't come in anymore, because we were going in to get resources, obviously, not to teach. Like, we had to pick up resources, and everything is online now with the teaching. And we are here because we didn't listen. We didn't take it seriously. We didn't pay attention. And now it's hitting us hard. Since yesterday, in the last 24 hours, we have 250 new deaths in Italy and 2,500 new cases alone, just in 24 hours. And we don't have, we don't even have any idea what this virus is 100%. But we didn't take it seriously. And I really think, and I'm one of those who also didn't take it seriously. I mean, I didn't move about because I just thought, all right, can't be bothered to move about generally, because I was being lazy and enjoying my holiday off work. Holiday, when I was putting,
but
yeah, exactly, because you're still teaching online stuff. But then, and now we have 3 times a day a truck that goes around from the civil defense telling us to stay in our houses, that united we can defeat this, to only leave the house in emergency. I just went to the supermarket and I was made to stand in line, take a ticket so they can call me. I had to stay a meter, and then it's 1 in, 1 out. When you go in, you have to wear gloves, face mask. You get to that point, you realize, damn, I was an idiot 3 weeks ago. I should have listened. And even if I wasn't one who was going for dinner or aperitivo, I was literally also staying in my house, because I have a small kid who had the flu at this point, and stuff.
So, I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow. And when you say people weren't taken seriously, the culture here in Kuwait. You know it very well. You lived here for a very long time. And I can tell you from my perspective, from what I've been seeing, is it's almost the same feel. People are still going out. People are still going to the mall. I mean, people are still going to the malls. They thought it was a holiday once they said, all right, no school. You go into places and people are still out and about and doing their normal daily routine, not understanding that if it spreads like wildfire, which it happened in Italy, the hospitals can't cope. And you guys are seeing that now in hospitals in Italy. I mean, what's that like for you living there, knowing that you go into a hospital, they're setting up tents outside, and
I can't go into hospital unless I am. It's a matter of life and death. I can't step foot in a hospital. I have to call my doctor. And they decide over the phone if it's, I mean, if you have, for example, a dental surgery that's booked, yes, because dentistry has nothing to do with general practitioner or emergency or, but first responders, emergency, they're all, I mean, our hospitals, you have to imagine someone goes into intensive care for 3 weeks. All right, no problem. That person's occupying a bed for 3 weeks, but each day there are more cases coming in. So it's not like you're dumping, you cannot, so you're there kind of, and they're making makeshift tents outside of the hospital. And I have to say one thing, I have never in my life had so much respect for doctors and nurses who are risking their own lives, risking it is because we don't know. Like we can say, people keep saying this awful thing, which is, oh, but it only affects the sick and the elderly. Oh, right, okay, but I love my mom, I love my dad. I don't want them to get sick, you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if it only affects the sick and elderly. The repercussions as a society that we think like that, and that's what I heard everywhere, you know. So the hospitals here we have one of the best health systems. We have
Sorry, I'm
a
I'm
lot.
getting I'm getting disrupted by a young 5-year-old right now.
Oh, that's all right.
My apologies.
No, don't worry about it. I'm in the same
Sorry.
boat.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
The hospitals are at their wits' end. They're being, I don't know. I mean, when you read it, it is heartbreaking. These doctors and nurses who are falling asleep in the corridor from exhaustion, who are working, they've pulled 2,000 doctors out of retirement. The head of, let me word this correctly, I can't remember his name now, but the head of the medical department that's in the red zone, he just died last week.
Yeah, I heard about that. I saw that on the news, and it's like,
Exactly.
holy shit, when you have these high-ranking officials. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a virus. It's a sickness. It doesn't pick if you're rich, poor, wealthy, if
Exactly.
you're a minister, if you're not. It's gonna
get it.
hit you hard. And if you're over, I mean, I was reading the stats that if you're 60 to 65, you have a 70% chance of dying. If you're 65 to 70, it goes up, and then if you're like 70 plus, you hit I think it's like the 85 to 90% range. But one thing that really struck a chord with me when I was listening to a podcast and when I was reading different articles is several people have said that in Italy now they have to pick of who lives and who dies, and they're choosing. I mean, is that true or is that?
This is the reports that we hear. This is, I think if I understood correctly, don't quote me on this, but if I understood correctly, it slipped. Like it wasn't meant to be told yet. Kind of like when they said that they're going to go full lockdown. That was a rumor, which got out in the open. It's going to happen, but it got out in the open before it was supposed to. So apparently, this is kind of like the thing that this is the next stage, because we are at war in a sense, Because the doctors are saying it's like a tsunami. We're being drowned by this. We can't stop it. It just keeps coming and keeps coming. And I really think that that will be the eventual decision. Probably, it's logical. And this is a first world country, one of the best. I mean, I cannot even imagine if it hits a country like Argentina. Can I even imagine the repercussions? I don't even want to think.
No, it's scary. It's scary because I mean, dude, we all grew up together in a sense. We all we all sat, drank coffee together, everything, and to think that we're all living a global pandemic together.
Crazy, yeah?
And Haya said it perfectly the other night. She goes, "It's no one's as scared as they are because it's the boogeyman you can't see, and you think it's not going to get you."
Exactly. She said that. That's actually really brilliant because they're describing it as World War II. That they feel like it's the war, but they don't know quite what. And then when Haya said that thing, it's like an enemy that you can't see, an invisible enemy. That's what it feels like. The streets are empty. Today was a really weird scene outside the supermarket. Everyone was kind of standing, no one talks to each other, right? Because not that people are still positive in the sense that they're trying their best, but you can feel this kind of like, because it changes every 24 hours, something new comes up. Right? So you cannot assume, oh, because I'm in Kuwait, I'm safe. You cannot. Now they're saying that it doesn't survive. It survives the heat.
Yeah, I saw that too. I read that too.
Yeah. Priorly they thought, no, it dies with the heat. No, it doesn't. It doesn't even make sense if our body temperature is already above 26 degrees half the time. You know what I mean? So um, I was standing outside the supermarket and there was just a bunch of, because we were all given these plastic gloves, they were just flying like in the wind. And it was just like really weird. The grass in the park is pretty high because no one's cutting it. And you're like, this is, like I said, the size of Kuwait is tiny, you know? I mean, what, you're 2.3 million people, if I remember correctly?
4 million now, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, and the fear here is, and I called this before. I mean, we did a show, literally, we did a show, I think last week, me and Dr.
Mm,
Dinka, and she was on the side of, look, you have to remain calm, take precautions, whatever. And I was like, dude, people call me a nut, or you might call me nuts because I'm like, look, stay in, do this, do that, for a reason. Because I knew, and I know this, that hospitals are not globally, all around the world, hospitals are not equipped to deal with like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 cases. Like
yeah,
you don't have enough
yeah,
doctors. You don't have
exactly.
enough bodies to cover something like this happening. And even if it is old people, I don't think it's just old people. I mean, young people are still getting affected by this. Like, they still get hit hard by what they call a really hard flu. But
Mm,
anything can happen. This thing can,
right.
and I don't understand how people, like, I just ran home. I told you I was like, that's why I was late. I had to go home and get a wire. And
Mm,
on my way home, I couldn't believe the number of of people that are still out there, and they just look like,
mm,
life is normal and people are still going to the store and they're, interacting. And last night cops were going on the beach and people were having beach parties. Like, dude, seriously? And
yeah.
the
And then
culture here.
think also of the first responders. Think of those people, the cops who would like to maybe just stay in their car and drive around and pay attention to, and not have to actually come in contact with people themselves. Think of the people in the shops who have no choice but to work in the shops, or people who have to do certain things. If you have the choice to remain at home or to at least remain at a safe distance, take that choice because you are still putting at risk the people who don't have that choice. You know what I mean? You put at risk at the person who is probably going to go to his work because he's going to lose his job. And that's what you feel about the supermarket people. You go to the supermarket, you behave calm, you respect the rules because those people who work there, they have elderly people at home, they have kids, and they want to go home as well, and they're scared, they're tense, they're nervous. You know, in the pharmacies, they have plastic wrap in front of the things because people just cannot respect. Also, there's a very innate selfish nature that is showing up, especially in young people, with this kind of like, oh yeah, but it's only the old people. Doesn't matter.
It's,
Doesn't matter. That old person who passed away, he still might have had a couple of years into his life, or maybe he was on the mend and he didn't deserve to die, you know?
and
And
they
that
have
is
parents.
also,
They have parents, and you have your parents.
mm,
How have they taken this in the last like 3 or 4 weeks? I mean, have they just hunkered down? I mean, because your
well, because
dad
of,
used to be a smoker, right?
yeah,
So
long time ago, my mom was, yeah.
I mean, now did they just hunker down and were they like, you know what, it's not worth the risk, or how has that affected
Um,
them?
a week ago, the Ministry of Health said a declaration that if you're 17 above, remain at home. And I have to tell you, I live in a building full of old people, and I would say 80% of them followed suit and they stayed home, including my dad. He hasn't really left. My mom respects the rules. She doesn't. Even before that, she was very careful. You know, you go where you had to go, and you didn't exaggerate. Most old people, I know old people in this building who I haven't seen them for 3 days. In fact, if it wouldn't be for the fact that I bumped into them like in putting out the trash, I I haven't seen them because they are stayed. You see them staring out, typical Italian scene, but looking out the balcony, and that's where that singing out the window comes from. It's because there are also a lot of old people on their own in their house. The only social interaction they had was going for a walk down Corso Italia, the main road, and now, so think if you get to that point where you have to do that, the social ramification and the implications are huge. Like this is economically, socially, behavior wise, and because this is I mean, I do agree with what you said that you do have to stay calm. I mean, you shouldn't panic. Has two forms in my phone. There's that panic of like, oh my god, I'm gonna go buy all the toilet paper that's in Costco's for no reason whatsoever. you
Yeah,
know
I know, right?
I mean, like honestly, of all the things, I get a bidet or something, but either way, And then there's that panic of, okay, this is scary. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to think about it. Like Rodrigo, my husband, is in Argentina and he can't come here. Every flight's been canceled.
Yeah, that must be
So, and I
that
said,
must be gut wrenching for him.
well, as much as I am worried about it, I am more scared of it hitting Argentina.
Really?
I am terrified. Yeah.
Is it just
Because
because the medical facilities they don't have them, or?
exactly. And then, for example, in Esquel on a hot in summer, for whatever reasons, the water shuts off, for example.
Oh wow.
So can you imagine? And that's why I said, I mean, for me, I stocked up on water and batteries and stuff because I always feel like the utilities are the things that might go first. I mean, here, like, but not because I don't know we are at a war, but because certain little things tend to then be pushed to the side or the money gets pumped into something else of the economy. But yeah, if it hits a place like Argentina, and they're not taking it seriously, yeah, they're really not taking. I mean, they really think it's a joke. And I said, okay, you know what? At this point, what you have to do is, and I spoke to this lady from Australia who feels the same. She said, oh, no one's taking it seriously. I'm like, how do you think we feel? We're in lockdown, which means we are supposed to hit the peak of this virus in 2 weeks. So we hit the peak
Oh,
of the virus,
you
right?
guys haven't even hit the peak yet?
Apparently not.
Oh my
Apparently we're
God.
supposed to
And you guys are getting
hit the
you're at 2,000 cases a day roughly, right? Like right now it's hit. You guys had like a
yeah, I think
huge jump last night.
yeah, 2,500 new cases, 250 dead. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Wow.
Yeah, but the thing is every day, so we don't know. So now it's saying that the peak is going to be like in 10 days, in 2 weeks, and then tomorrow they might say, no, we're hitting the peak in about 4 days. It is so uncertain, this whole situation at the moment, that at one point you also have to shut off. You have to say, okay, enough. I read the news, I read the synopsis of the news in the morning and a synopsis of the news at night, and that's it. Because otherwise it is an overload of information and it blows out in your brain, especially since we're all stuck inside, just kind of like twiddling our thumbs.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, luckily we're all connected through social media, which is a good thing, but
Oh
a
man,
bad
yeah.
thing also because there's, Kuwait, there's a ton of rumors circulating. There's a ton of bad information that's circulating around, which is insane. But what else is going on over there in terms of, like how's the government responding? Are you guys happy with the government response, or is it like Kuwait
Yes.
where right now you know the fairgrounds, right? So they've blocked off the
Yeah.
fairgrounds and they've got I think it was like 2,000 people there getting tested all together at the same time, and it's like, dude, that's the stupidest thing you can do because one person has it. They could spread it to all those people that are getting
Jumps.
tested that
Yeah.
day. And it's
Yeah.
like, I personally don't know who's making the decisions here, but everything that I've seen in the media has been stay by yourself, keep a big distance, don't go out in
They
groups, stay
isolate.
out of
Yeah.
groups. And I mean, now you guys, learning from you guys, especially, I mean, how's the sentiment towards the government?
We support our government. I was not crazy about my government in the sense that, like, Italian politics is a very complicated playing field. It's very competitive. But I have to say, for example, which would be like the mayor of Gorizia, every time a law changes, he puts a pamphlet in our post office post box with all the new rules and regulations and how to take care and all the numbers and the hotlines that we can call and everything. So in that sense, I have a lot of respect. I really do, because they keep us constantly updated. Like I say, that truck that goes around to reach people who might not have a phone or might not, because there are people who also really live without a TV, whatever, letting them know we're in a state of national emergency, we are on lockdown, do not leave your house, and we have a number we can call, various different numbers for very different, like, helplines, 112, which is like our emergency, or even they're even helping old people who have no relatives. We'll do your shopping for you, we'll bring you
Yeah.
your medicine. So I do think the response, albeit having been slow, because the reality of the hit was, let's say, it's been over a month now that we've been headed this way. I do still, compared to the rest of Europe, I think we're doing a great job. I'm sorry. I mean, people called us nuts already 2 weeks ago. Okay. I had people in Argentina who said, you're crazy, you Italians, what are you doing shutting down schools and stuff? What's the point? It's because children are the carriers. They don't get sick, but they are the biggest carriers of germs.
So
Think about it.
children have been pegged kind of as the carriers over in Italy more than
Well, but
adults.
in any case, scenario, even with the flu, a lot of kids can carry they're walking germs.
Yeah.
Let's be honest,
Yeah, I know. I know.
if you think about
Yeah.
it, I mean, my kid, like, I think the amount of times he washes his hands, he's literally looking at me like, are you freaking serious? I gotta wash my hands again. Like, he touches the bathroom, I go wash your hands. And I'm not a germaphobe in any sense of form. But we've got no alcohol and gel here, huh? We've got no wipes, nothing. We have run out. We have run out, you know, and
Wow.
that is like the little wipes, disinfectant wipes that you
Yeah.
can use to disinfect a cut, gone. I don't know if people are like soaking them, but seriously, I'm not joking, huh?
No, I mean,
Like,
I totally believe it. I mean, you guys are
you
at ground
know,
zero, and that's why
not toilet paper.
dude, honestly, that's why I'm glad we have the bidets here. So
Yeah,
we luck out with that.
we
But
do too in Europe, huh?
but
We do too in
th-
England.
that's why I wanted to bring you on the show, mainly because you are at ground zero. You
Mm,
are seeing this firsthand, and we haven't seen the boogeyman here, and I hope we don't. I really hope and pray to
mm,
God, because I don't think Kuwait is equipped at all for any type of medical pandemic that would strike. We only have
mm,
250 ventilators in the entire country of a population of
yeah.
4 million. So, like, that's why I wanted to talk to you, because it must be scary. I mean, how is it like right now? Like, are you always anxious? Like, or is it
You
only
see,
when you go out?
a couple of days ago, I was just randomly like, I can't believe I'm actually saying this on air, so to say, but I would actually burst onto tears just randomly because it was like the reality of because we were told at 9 o'clock at night, as of tomorrow, you're on complete lockdown. I didn't even have time to go out and buy cardboard paper to do projects with my son. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, you realize, oh my goodness, I have nothing. Like I don't joke, and I told my mother-in-law, said, stock up on shampoo and those random things because obviously also to avoid then going out afterwards, right? I had one day where I was really, you were just like, I don't know, I couldn't. But then also, of course, I saw how it affected Noel, how it affected my kid. Like I felt his energy. He was upset. He was angry. And I said, no, you can't do that as a parent. So I set myself a routine again. I started waking up early because, anyways, I got to work. I got to continue working online teaching and stuff. So I just included. I said, okay, like we're in school, like we're normal. We have 8 hours because kids have 8 hours of schooling here, so it's a huge change for them, huh?
Yeah.
They
Oh
were in
yeah,
school
yeah,
from eight
yeah.
to four, and now they are and now it's even that in certain parts, I mean, Gorizia is it's not a small place, but it's chilled. Udine and stuff, which are big cities, people are not going to the park because one way or another, you cannot avoid groups of people.
Yeah, I mean, dude,
Today,
yeah, yeah.
no joke, some guy said to me, oh, I wish I could rent your dog just so I have an excuse to be outside. And I said, no, I know, I understand. Because I have a big dog, so I have the right, even though I don't have it right now on me, but I have to sign a paper that declares my reason for being outside, my justification, my address. That, for example, I live in this address and I go to the corner that is all the way down in the other part of Gorizia.
Yeah.
They're like, why are you crossing Gorizia? You don't have a need to. You have this in the supermarket near you.
Oh, really? So, well, that's good on the military. I mean, that's good for the police and the military to actually
Respect.
do. Yeah.
I am so appreciative because no matter what, even the Italians, they like to push the boundaries. They always like to push it a little bit further, which is human nature as well. You're
Yeah.
being told you have to lock yourself into your house. It's tough. People's businesses are going bankrupt. It's not fear per se. No, I have more fear that, like I said, it hits Argentina. And, all those people, for example, just in Buenos Aires alone, you have over 10 million people in one city,
Wow.
you know?
Wow. Well, let's hope let's
So,
hope we're wrong and the heat does kill it. I mean, let's hope for
no,
that.
man, they've already
Look,
proved
I'm
that.
I'm praying that there no, I'm praying that there is a way out
Yeah,
of this.
Kuwaiti heat might kill it, to be
I
honest.
know,
Kuwaiti
right?
heat is extreme.
But
I
it's funny
mean,
because it's still cold here. Like, what the frig? Like, dude, it's
yeah.
still decently cold at night, and it's like, I mean, I'm hoping that they do. I mean, the prediction is it's going to be like SARS, where it dies down in the summer and the heat does kill it. But with this, from what some experts are saying, is they don't know. Like, it is something that's completely
That's the
new.
thing. It's day by day. We don't know. It's literally day by day, I think. I think this virus is so new and fresh and bizarre. Like yesterday, a bunch of experts from China arrived.
I saw that. I saw that. You got to give kudos to China, man. I mean, for them to
Oh
just
my
be like, all right,
goodness.
let's go to Italy and try and figure this thing out with
Not only
them.
that, they're sending, I'm sure you can find online, but they're sending messages of support saying, Forza Italia, you can do this, back up on your feet and stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a hit.
it's understandable. And I mean, I really pray for you guys. I hope you guys get out of this fast. And, I hope it's peaked and everybody's wrong. It's all you can really do at this point is just wish for the best and hope that happens.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though, what came out of this also was, for example, there was this mention that people now in here are buying off Amazon because Amazon still delivers.
Yeah.
No matter what,
right?
Amazon still delivers. IKEA.
I know. I bought DJ supplements yesterday from Amazon. I was
Yeah,
like, you know what? I'm going to
seriously.
stock up on elderberry and all this shit. Even though doctors have said supplements don't work, nothing works. And the only
Doesn't matter. Do it, man. It's just for your psychosis.
yeah,
Do
like
it.
dude, like if I'll take that chance. I'll take the chance of spending 40,
I eat
50
oranges
bucks.
every day.
We've
Also
been
because we're out. Yeah.
we've been eating the shit out of oranges too. Like all DJ's been eating is oranges. Granted, it
Because
doesn't.
obviously this affects people who have a weaker immune system, people who
Yeah.
have asthma, diabetes, but also people who are generally probably not as healthy as other people,
Yeah.
like the flu. It hits them. That's the thing. Because it didn't click with me that asthmatic people are at high risk as well, for example, because
Yeah.
it attacks the lungs. It has an effect on the lungs. So it's not just old; it's also immune compromised people who are recovering from cancer, people who are recovering from any kind of immune deficiency or this. That's the thing. But you know what I was saying that with the whole on Amazon, people are ordering books and board games and projects and things, and not so much clothes and technological device. I like the shift in the paradigm of the way people see what is important right now. Even before this, already before we had the complete shutdown, people were not going to H&M. People were going and enjoying a cup of coffee, and because at this point they were telling us you can go to the cafe, but you cannot go to the bar, which is a very typical like
Yeah.
Italians like to stand by the bar. We have to sit outside. So it was cold. Everyone's like, but we were sitting outside. People were enjoying their pizza outside. People were enjoying walking in the aperitivo. You didn't see like shops like H&M, or when you went to the mall, most people were in IKEA buying projects like the furniture stuff. But the mall itself, there was no one really shopping for clothes or perfume or shoes. And it was like a shift in also A, because you have no economic security at the moment, because you
Yeah.
just don't know how we're gonna, yeah. But B, also the shift of focus. Kids have been out of school since, wait, I made the calculation, since the 24th of February.
Oh wow. Wow.
Okay, so kids have been a lot at home, so parents have different focuses now. I don't know. You see, you think now the first thing I thought, the first thing would happen if I was out of this like lockdown would be to go have a cup of coffee. Obviously, 100 meters away from everyone else, but just to have that luxury of, cup of coffee, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what shifts a lot. And that might be what's so difficult because the whole life in Kuwait in the malls. Just in the summer alone, you cannot even expect people to go for a walk along the Gulf.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know?
No. 100%. You're right. Yeah. I
So
mean.
people spend it in the Marina Mall, in avenues, in Scientific Center, in Sultan Center. Like I remember that is but and gatherings, and that
Yeah.
obviously causes tight gathering of people. So it is also going to be very hard to accept. Hey, you got to be in your house all day. You got to knock on wood and thank your lucky stars if you have a big house. Because honestly, that's my dog. Sorry.
No,
We all
it's
live
fine.
in apartments on top of each other here.
That's why we
Which is
took the
also-
we took the shift. Hey, broke her arm. So since she broke her arm, we've
Yeah.
been staying at her parents. And I'm glad we're here because it gives DJ a ton of space. He can go outside. He can play in the garden. He can play. He has a whole house to play with, versus a 3-bedroom apartment. So I'm definitely thankful that we do have that because you're right. It makes a difference, especially if this is going in for the long haul. Now, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if you have one,
I've got all the time in the world, dude.
I know, right? I know.
Nothing to do.
I know, dude. I know, right? I mean, that's what someone said too. They're like, "Oh, can we reschedule?" I was like, "Dude, we can reschedule whenever you want. I've got,
Nothing to do.
But if you could give people in Kuwait some messages, some advice to work with from what you've seen in the last 3 weeks, what advice? What is the most important piece of advice you could give them so that they could hopefully stop this thing and, kind of don't not let it hit its peak?
Never assume that you are immune to everything. Never assume that you are far away from something and that it will never reach you. Don't make that assumption. You know, don't assume, oh, it's in Italy and China. It's never going to get here. Now, one case is more than enough. One doctor or one attorney in the States infected 50 people. So really, don't panic. Don't go out and go crazy and start spraying yourself with Dettol or I don't know, bathing your child in bleach or something. But do take the necessary precautions and common sense. I mean, we should be washing our hands anyways. You know what I mean? We should be avoiding to touch our face too much anyways. We should be taking these precautions as it is, you know. And yeah, just you know, but don't assume that it's not going to get to you. Don't laugh it off like we did, basically. Like, yeah, okay. You know, even when they were telling us 1 week of no school, we're like, all right, it's no big deal. We'll be back soon. You know, just don't assume you're invincible.
Yeah, no, I know that's true. What are your fears right now?
That I don't know. I mean, we've taken all these precautions, and it's just the numbers aren't dropping. So I don't know. My fear right now is how are we going to return to normality? That's what I'm worried about. This situation we're in right now, this is our reality. This is what it is. So okay, we manage. People are still positive. They're still smiling at each other. We're calling each other every day. Doing kind of hangout chats and stuff, trying to be like, because there are a lot of people who are completely on their own, completely on their own. And that I think is 10 times worse. I mean, I have my parents who live in the same building as me, a stare down. Well, there are people who are flat out on their own, and that's I don't know. My fear is that people become more and more isolated, more and more grumpy, more and more angry. That all the people who are now like smiling and polite in the supermarket might be, I don't know, spitting at you next week because it takes a toll on your head. You gotta be like, you know, I don't know, think positive, do things, take advantage. Just say, all right, you know what? I'm gonna paint my wall red like I said I was gonna do, or take on small projects, or spend more time enjoying small things. If you have a kid, spend time with your kid, or if you don't, just little things like, I don't know, yesterday I repotted all my plants. It took up 3 hours of my day. I had no one help me. So you got to keep, but my fear is that some people start to like lose it, you know,
Yeah.
and that this doesn't end anytime soon.
What's now? What's the silver lining? What's the bright spot you've seen? Like, there's got to be something that you've been like, wow, like that's sent chills up your spine, saying this is amazing or it's great to see.
The solidarity of the Italian people here in the north. People are not. They're not like in Rome or in the south or in Tuscany. They're not as open. They're quite, mind your own business. I mean, we're closer to Austria than we are to Rome, okay? But the solidarity, the knocking on the neighbor, hey, I know you're old or scared, want me to go to the supermarket for you? The how are you? Is everything okay? Calling each other, hey, what, the TV sending message to the kids, everything's gonna be okay. That stuff.
Wow. Um, Honestly, like you sent chills up my spine to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a video on The Guardian. I shared them on Facebook, totally relevant. But of the Italians leaning out the window singing the national anthem, very popular Italian songs. And it looks like something, it's a kind of like the slow clap scene from a movie, but it means so much for us. Like today, when I was walking back and the church bells were ringing, and it's the silence is deafening at 6 o'clock at night, because that's kind of the curfew at 6 o'clock at night. That's kind of like, the only reason you should be out is because your dog needs to poop. Otherwise, I was taking my dog, obviously had to poop at 7:30, obviously. So I took her out and I went around the corner here, and you could hear, because people had their windows open, you could hear the clacking of the forks, people eating. That's how dead silent it was.
Wow.
And that is suffocating. That feels like, the silence. And then I remember when the invasion of Iraq was happening in Kuwait and a lot of things shut down, they kind of had the messages and the megaphone and stuff. Well, that happening here, that also sends chills on your spine. But then, for example, today with all the church bells ringing, people leaning out the window and clapping, like saying, because they couldn't go to church, but they're kind of, looking for each other. That is like, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for the neighbors who have nobody, who are on their own. The TV talking to you, saying it's okay, everything's going to be okay. You'll be fine. We'll make it through it. Italy will rise again. It's a big deal for a nation also that still really strongly remembers the war. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine. It's, I mean, humanity can go one of two ways with something like this. They can either come together and bind together and work together, or they can go the other way and tear each other apart. And I'm sure there's going to be countries where they do that. And luckily for you guys in Italy, it's been the opposite, and you guys have come together, and it's, it's...
No one's panic buying, Maddie. I was really shocked when I saw those news reports. I was like, whoa, why are you panic buying like that? I can understand the fear, right? But we're not doing it. Like, people go and there's very respect, and you see people, kind of like, but also our syndical, our president said to us very clearly, the supermarkets will keep being stocked. Yes, maybe we run out of tomatoes for a while, whatever, but you will have fully stocked supermarkets. You will have the pharmacies. Don't worry, don't. And so people took it seriously and said, okay, so no one panic bought. People do like me do. I go out every 3 days and I buy quite a few things because I don't feel like going, because you don't really feel like going out when everything's so like monotone,
Yeah.
But just don't forget your humanity also. That's the thing. Keep smiling at people, keep having, and the kids don't need to know that much. No, well, I don't tell him much, Like I said, he associates coronavirus with Trump for some reason. Because,
Smart kid.
I know, but it's hilarious. For example, they were showing the video in Napoli. They were singing a famous Italian song, and then obviously the reporter goes, "Il coronavirus," and there's a picture of Trump, and now he goes, "Coronavirus." Like, yeah, okay. But otherwise, I don't tell him. Like I said, I don't take him to the supermarket so he doesn't see the face masks and the gloves, because he doesn't need to see that. Yeah. Kids are not out that much. Like, you see a couple of kids in the park, but I think mostly they're kept indoors because it's quite frightening.
No, it's understandable. I mean, that's understandable. Yeah. I mean, we've kept DJing and tried keeping him inside the whole time because he just got over pneumonia at the beginning of February. So for him, he's very prone to chest infections. So for me, it's like I want to keep him as sheltered as possible. That's my main concern right now, and especially the elderly.
Definitely.
I mean, Laura, thank you so much for coming on, and I'd love if you came back on maybe next week to check up with us, and you and your family just stay safe, and any support you guys need, and let us know.
Thank you.
Prayers are probably the best thing. I mean,
you know what, the collective energy,
or we can Amazon buy.
Yeah, well, there we go. Like I said, the collective energy of praying, that does help. At least just to, like I said, I wish I could go back 3 weeks and say, wow, this is not a joke, and not have to wake up to this horrible, bad word news, of 250 more people that are gone, it's just, and also, all you have to do is just go to, Reuters and stuff, and look at the images of the Italian hospitals, and that already gives you goosebumps. The nurses that have bruises on their faces because they've been wearing the masks for so long, of the doctors who came out of retirement and are risking their lives to help the situation. And you know what they've done? They've advanced degrees of nursing students. They've made them take their exams just so they can send them on what they're calling the front lines now.
Wow.
And also the fact that people Armani donated $2 million, I think, to the hospitals. People are crowdfunding, not for themselves, not for the hospitals. They're crowdfunding money. Can you believe that? I mean, that is the solidarity, the respect, and I applaud our health system. I applaud our government for everything they've tried to do,
Wow.
And don't get angry at that policeman who comes and tells you to get off the beach, because you don't know don't take people's fear. Don't take it lightly. Respect people who have fear. Respect the fact that they're scared, because there's nothing more horrifying than someone who's scared and someone that laughs in their face. I really believe I'm not a fearful or a panicky person, but I really respect those who are scared and frightened and don't want to leave their house and are paranoid. I respect that because everyone handles everything in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and remember, the whistleblower was a man in his 30s, and he died from this disease. So let's.
Died.
Yeah.
Died or taken
Okay.
out.
Yeah.
I mean, no one really knows.
Yeah.
He's like the only
I mean,
person in his 30s that died. So.
Yeah, there's some. Well, no, the patient zero here in Italy was a 30-year-old, huh?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Football, that sport guy whose wife was pregnant.
So they tracked it back. They tracked back patient zero in Italy?
Well, one of the patients zero, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like with how connected we are through airports. Like you can't. It's almost impossible to track it back to one person. It's so difficult to do.
Just think about it. You go to an airport and you're like, "Oh, look in Starbucks. Oh, look at that lovely blueberry muffin out in the open." God knows how many people sneezed around it already. And I'm really not a germaphobe. Matt, you know me. I'm really not a germaphobe. And all of a sudden, I'm like, "No, you're not eating that random croissant that is there on the,
No, I know. Wow, it's tough, dude.
Watch the film Contagion, and I hate doing this because I'm not one of those Hollywood. But honestly, I'm having video conferences with not. I mean, you obviously in a different country, but people in my own country here for work and stuff. I'm calling people, and and it's like all the steps of this is like, you're like, holy cannoli, it's weird.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. I kind of rewatched scenes from the film, and I went. And I said, all right, I'm not going to watch that because that's just going to give me nightmares.
I know, dude. That's the last movie, like Outbreak or Outbreak, the old movie from the 90s.
Right.
I ain't watching that shit right now. Like, I want to watch funny, fluffy
What was the
crap.
one with Bruce Willis and the monkeys or something like that where he goes back in time?
12 Monkeys. 12 Monkeys.
There we go. Which, by the way, I think took me 3 years to understand that film.
I know. Me and you both, dude. It wasn't an easy movie to figure out.
It was a weird film, man.
I know, dude. I know. But Laura, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And God bless you and God bless the family.
Thank you. Thank you. And you guys take care, okay? And if your country's not ready to take precautions, and I don't think that's the case. I think they're just planning it because it takes time. They shut down here 60 million people. I mean, there's not something you can just do overnight.
Yeah.
It takes planning. I think that's why it took a month of slow, because imagine you're being told you can't do that. All of a sudden, you have the biggest urge in the world to go swimming in Croatia.
Yeah.
It's not true. It's just, it's human nature. So don't downplay it. I think sometimes it's just a matter of time and trying as hard as they can to sort it out because it's a long-term plan. Right now, it's a plan that has no end.
I mean, they said here in 2 weeks, but I got sources telling me that we're going to be well into June or May, June until we are out of lockdown. And they're hoping if it doesn't peak and they can slow the infection down here in Kuwait, that we'll be out in 3-4 weeks. But if it peaks and we go into the thousands, that's when we really have to worry out here.
And the virus can take 3 weeks, can live 3 weeks in your body before you even show symptoms.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
I mean, it's that the thing is some people are just carriers and they're not. They don't
exactly.
They don't show any symptoms, whereas other people will show symptoms within 4 days. So that's what I've been looking for is anyone in a 4-day period, and I think that's what I've been. Everything I've heard is 4 days, 4 days, 4 days, but 14 days for it to actually get out of your system. And here I know that they're taking extra precautions. Like if you test, you have to wait 48 hours to retest, and you're taking 2 or 3 tests before they're letting you out.
That's why I don't follow. That's why I don't follow the World Health Organization because I lost all my respect that it took them so long to declare it a pandemic. When the Italians were telling them it's a pandemic, we cannot control it. They said it's out of control. It's. So I follow the Italian doctors. I follow the Italian health minister here. I follow the people in Milan who are in ground zero. I listen to what they say because they are not panicking. They are dead serious. They're looking you in the face and saying, just follow the hand rules,
Yeah.
Just wash your hands, stay at home, don't touch your face. I'm out. Like today I was out and my nose was itching. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? People look at you. And I was like, and I look like that, I dream of Genie kind of thing. I was like,
no, I know what you mean. Yeah. No, I saw someone. I saw someone sneeze the other day, and I was ready to punch him. I was like,
Yeah, but
like,
and I was looking around. I was like, no one's seen this. I was like, okay, really quick on my shoulder, but it was just itching because at that moment, obviously, as well,
yeah.
part of it, when you can't rub your nose, it's like,
And
oh
it's
man,
like psychologically, you psych yourself out too. Like last night, I was telling Hey, I was like, "Oh my God, my nose is getting stuffy. Oh my God, my throat hurts a little bit." And it's like, for me, I've already got this little hypochondriac thing where if I believe something's wrong, I can make, like in my body, I'll feel it.
right, yeah.
So it's like I'm trying to stay as calm as possible. But inshallah, hopefully, it just, hopefully
The
we
most
played smart.
telltale, exactly, and the most telltale thing of this is a 39 degrees fever that is a steady fever that doesn't go down. That's
Yeah.
one of the apparently one of the most typical, and shortness of breath. Because you can't breathe properly, which is unusual. I mean, even when you have the flu, unless you have underlying health problems or
Yeah.
pneumonia,
Yeah.
you don't normally get a shortness of breath, and
No,
that's a
it's
big
true.
sign. And just before we went off work, like 2 weeks before the carnival holidays, I remember saying, I was going up the stairs, to go up and down stairs, go to the resource room, and I was like, dude, just casually. At that point, we weren't even thinking of coronavirus, right? It was just,
Do you think it hit schools in January and December? Because this has been around since November.
I think so.
All right. So, all right, let's end it there, and we'll definitely be in touch for next week. Take care, Laura. Thank you
Guys,
very
yes,
much.
you too.
All right.
You
Don't hang
too.
up. I'm just going to stop the recording right now. So hold on
All
one
right.
second. All right.
Okay.